Sorry if I use these sunglasses at this time of the day. It looks funny, I know, but these eyes are having a kind of a photosensitivity these days that is uncomfortable.
My mind works. So like when you look at it that way, then you have more control.
Yes, yes.
That kind of seems to
right. Yes, what Mindy is saying, she reminded me of something that we have discussed in a previous satsang, which is it's very simple. It's when you were into the bhakti yoga path, perhaps some of you were there, and you were praying to God and trying to get the attention of the divine to get what you wanted, even if you were looking for liberation, which is the highest prayer or enlightenment. And then in the path of bhakti yoga, you are encouraged to purify your inner dialogue here in the head, right? Your mental regurgitations, right? Which they keep going, not because now you're a bhakti, your mind is silent. Then you're encouraged to purify this internal dialogue by using it to talk to God. And in some traditions it's called practicing the presence of God. And they will encourage you to talk to God. Yeah. So it's supposed to do something positive, which in some cases may be useful. I remember when I was in that bhakti path, I would say that it was not that useful. And the problem with the technique is that it encourages identification with the me. So here is me talking to God outside, right? So you identify yourself even further and deeper into I am this little being outside God, talking to it. Before the bhakti path, it was even worse. Before you entered the bhakti path, you were having a dialogue here that it was me talking to me. I am talking to myself, right? Me, a false entity, talking to me, another false entity. The result is just, illusion. So your internal dialogue is constantly sustaining the false, sustaining the identification with the me. It's a horrible, horrible way to live. And it's the way most of the population, most of people in this world live, in that internal dialogue that is sustaining constantly the illusion of the me. So as I said, then we move, supposedly one step further and we talk to God, but still we're encouraging identification. So eventually, if you're lucky and you come to a path like Advaita or Non-Duality, then something quite different begins to happen, and you will be encouraged to do a different trick, which is instead of talking to God, to wake up, realize that there is no me, that it is a story, that there is no little self inside, there is no other being inside except awareness. Awareness is not a separate being, it's just, the divine looking through all the mind-body organisms of the universe is undifferentiated. So once that is understood properly and is realized, is seen inside through keen observation, then what happens is that this dialogue between me and me doesn't make sense, right? And this dialogue between me and God doesn't make sense either, right? Because you are God. You realize that the divine is you and you are the divine, and there cannot be any other possibility. So now you can say, well, the Buddhist texts and the other scriptures, they talk about the Buddhic mind and the lower mind. And they say that in the Buddhic mind or the higher mind, these are thoughts, same as the lower mind is thoughts, basically, So the higher mind or the Buddhic mind are thoughts that come directly from consciousness. That consciousness is controlling the, the, the mental process, right? And the thoughts are generated from consciousness. So, okay, now then we can do that. The awakening brings the awakening of the Buddhic mind, which are thoughts that come from consciousness, and now you can use that thinking process to talk now to the organism. So now you are, to use the word God, now you are God and you're talking to the mind body organism, and that creates detachment from the mind body organism instead of identification, like in the Bhakti path. So that is a very nice step forward in the process of embodiment, because awakening may have happened already. The identification with consciousness is already there, and still, this dialogue needs to be purified. It needs to the internal dialogue has to be based on truth, not on the. Now, if you can actually obliterate the dialogue and have a totally quiet mind, by all means, that's even better, right? But it depends on the type of brain that you have. Some brains will do that. They will quiet, yeah, and other brains will keep going. so you need to choose according to the situation. If you can completely quiet the mind all the time, you don't need to do this trick. If you cannot, I highly recommend that you as consciousness, you take control of the mind, yeah, and in your internal dialogue, you talk to the organism instead of talking me to me or me to God. And in this talking to the organism, it comes great power to encourage the mind-body organism, to help the organism to shift, to change, to become more flexible, more free of habits, free of wrong habits, free of addictions, free of all the things that in potential can bring you back into identification. So you use this dialogue. How you use this dialogue is picture that you as consciousness, you are the best counselor your mind body organism can ever have, right? Because it's a counseling that happens instantaneously, in the moment, in the here and now, when the problem is going on. You don't need to wait for the next appointment with your psychotherapist. No, it happens in the here and now, immediately. You tune with, you talk from the perspective, you identify yourself with consciousness, and then you talk to the body and you advise the body in the right direction, right? So it's a counseling that is of immense value, and anyone that has done counseling in their life will feel very comfortable with this approach. So those online, I encourage you to ask questions using the chat room, and same here. Other one.